Hello, hello, welcome back to the show. Now, if you think that sales is awkward or annoying or desperate, this one is for you. Because if you do not have a sales system that includes follow-up, then you are leaving money on the table. You are leaving the health, the income, the cash flow of your business in the hands of other people. We need to take the reins. We need to take the reins and actually lead our business, lead with authority, and follow up with our prospects. Now, the lie that you're probably telling yourself and believing because it makes you feel better about not following up, it helps you feel more comfortable, is maybe if they wanted it, that they would buy it, that you don't want to chase people, that you don't want to be salesy. And maybe you are saying, hey, I already sent a follow up email. And the truth really is here that if you're not following up, it's not that you are being respectful. It means that you are being avoidant. And I know it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable because it means that we put ourselves out there in the place that we can be rejected, and we do it again and again and again. But people are busy and we have to follow up if we want what I know that you want. Now, if you were dining at a Michelin Star restaurant, I know that you would want white glove service, right? You would want to be greeted at the door. You would like to be led to your table. You would like to be shown the menu. You would like to be told all of the different options. You would like probably a little time to decide. You would then maybe get busy speaking with your friend, and the waiter would come back and they would offer to take your order, ask you what you would like. Potentially you hadn't looked at the menu, and so you send the waiter away and you continue talking and they come back again. You would want that level of service. You wouldn't want the waiter to just leave over there and decide that they weren't coming back because they didn't want to be annoying, right? You want to be led and guided through that experience. And it is the same for your prospects. They are paying multiple thousands of dollars for your service. If you follow my advice and you offer high ticket solutions for your clients, then you have something really valuable to offer, and they are investing in that service with you as an expert. They want to feel guided. If I'm hiring a videographer to come and record me and my team, I want them to lead. I want them to show me all of the options that are possible. If I haven't decided yet, I want them to send me an email and say, just wondering if you've decided on this, or have you thought about this a little more, and giving me a call. I want to feel like they want to work with me. I don't want to feel like it's like, meh. I really want their attention from the minute that I inquire until the minute everything is delivered. I want to feel looked after and guided and served. And that is what you can do for your clients. And that is what customer service actually is, right? It starts from the very first minute. And there are reservations, I know, one, because it puts us up to feel rejected. Two, because maybe we've had a bad experience with a salesperson. And I know I certainly did. I was pregnant with my first child. I don't think that they knew it was winter. I had a lot of jackets on, and, I didn't look overly pregnant. And I went into a used car dealership to buy a station wagon. I had a little Pulsar at the time. The back seat didn't go down. It was annoying because I couldn't fit my surfboard in because I didn't have roof racks. So I knew that I wanted the seats to go down. I wanted some sort of station wagon so that I could fit prams and, all of that schmozzle stuff in there. And I had two requirements. I said, of this station wagon, so I guess three, I want a station wagon, I want cruise control, and I want air conditioning. I'm not a fancy girl, right? I like the simplest things the better. I like things with buttons. I don't really like, yes, in my business, I want automation, but at home, I like the less things I have to think about and touch and buttons and all of that, the better for me personally. And that's what I wanted. So I went and I told this man who would have been probably mid 40s, and I would have been early 20s, mid 20s. And I told him what I wanted. three things: station wagon, cruise control, air conditioning. He didn't have anything. He goes, oh, I know what you want. You want the brand new Barina. And I was like, no, I really don't. I want a secondhand car, and this is the three things I want. I just want it to get from me to A to B. I really don't care. I do not care about cars. If it gets me where I want to go, amazing. He goes, no, 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 you have to come and see the Barina. It's like, okay, I'll be polite. I'll come and see the Barina. He takes me into the showroom. There's this brand new Barina. It's in my price range, but it's tiny. It's like, look, this is where you can put your shoes. Look, it's got heated seats. Look, 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 look. And I said, yeah, great. Thank you very much. And no, thank you. That's not what I'm after. And I left. He called me. I can't remember the amount of times, like non-stop calling me. It took me about an hour to get home. I had like 8 missed calls or something from him in that amount of time. And I spoke to him again and I mentioned, like, no, he would not stop calling and leaving. He would not leave me alone. And so I called his manager and I said, look, this is the situation. Now, in that case, he should have stopped following up. Great, maybe one phone call, maybe another one if I didn't answer, but that amount in that amount of time, unnecessary. And yes, I know it's the stereotypical used car salesman, but legitimately, that's what it was. So we don't want to be like that guy, but we do want to fill the gap and the void between where we leave that conversation and the next one. And there are a few really nice ways to. Now, you know what I'm going to say, right? You need, we need some like sprinkle music, a system. We need a system. And when we have a system, it solves two problems. One, we're not relying on our emotional kind of readiness and resolve to actually do the thing because we've already decided how we're going to follow up and what that really looks like. Number two, we know exactly what to do and when. And so you can automate some of it, you can outsource it to your team. So when we're creating a system, what we need a timeline and we need a structure. And without those two things, we're really not going to be leading them. We're not going to be building trust with that potential client. But when we do have that, we do have a structure and we do have a timeline, then they are going to feel guided. That trust is going to be built from the outset, and they're going to know that they're making a really good decision with you and your company. So now let's talk about what good follow-up is and is not. It isn't, I'm just following up. It isn't, I'm just checking in. First, what we want to do is we want to remove the word just. This word just is like really full of nervous energy and it really undermines what you're trying to do here. Remember, you're guiding, you're the alpha, you're leading them. The second thing is that we want to set the expectations about follow-up from the start. Managing expectations is another one of those really big business principles and life principles that we should always keep front of mind, but I'll probably do another episode on managing expectations. But in this context, what I mean is that every interaction that you have, both of you need to know what the next step is and when that will happen. And you have an agreement there, even if it's an unspoken agreement. So on the sales call, you might say something like this. Most clients take a few days to decide. Here's how I'll support you to make the decision, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to send you these things. I'm going to la, la, la. I'm going to follow up on this date. And at the end of everything, there needs to be some kind of sentence like this. If I don't hear back by X date, I will reach out. Now, of course, you're going to word this according to how you would actually say that, but those two things help your client, your prospective client, feel really, really supported in their decision. You can also say something like this if you want to kind of take it even further, and so they really know that there's not a rush and you're not trying to hassle them. You can say that. You can say, my role is to help you decide, not to rush you. Now, that can sound disingenuous sometimes if it's written. So maybe say that in part of the sales call conversation. so that they really know that your role is to help them to decide yes or no and not just to push them into what's ideal for you. And the fantastic thing about this is that this shows leadership, right? This is holding your potential client by the hand and guiding them, like we've talked about. And this is service. It's really not pushy, it's really not desperate, and it's really not chasing if you do it in the right way. If you are leading with service, if you give a crap, right? And I know that we have goals and I know that we want to make money, but if you've designed your offer in a way that really serves your ideal client and their business, and you are making business better for them, you're saving them time and money, then you got the brownies, girl. Like, you got the brownies, share them out, be proud of them, offer them out. You've got something to be really excited and proud of. And we get to sell and make money and make a difference and make other people's businesses better. And that's actually the beauty of business, is that it's win-win-win. It's win for everybody. That's when you know you have something magical. That's when it's fun to show up to work every day. And that's when you can sell without having that feeling like you're trying to sell them a Purina, where they really just want a station wagon that takes them from A to B, right? We're not going to be the Verena guy. All right. So, what does a good timeline look like? Let's talk about that. Of course, it's going to look different for everyone, but typically from the first conversation, you really want to help them to make a decision within that first kind of 2 weeks. So, at this point, after that 2 weeks, they might move then to more of a slower nurture sequence, but maybe not. So, it's really the 2 week period that you need a plan for. Like, what are you going to say? What are you going to send them? What case studies or stories or resources do they need to help them decide and make that decision? You do not need to follow up daily. You do not need to follow up 8 times in 1 hour like Mr. Barina. And you don't need to have that like needy energy. What you want is that calm, professional, predictable cadence where they feel looked after. Think of it as customer service, not as selling. All right, lastly, why do we do this? We talked about that. What happens if we don't do it? Well, if we don't do it, we aren't in control of our businesses. We're not in control of our cash flow. Our companies are going to stay in this feast and famine. Our income then is going to depend on whether people refer us or not, or it's going to leave the growth of our business in the hands of other people. And what happens then is we leave money on the table and we reinforce our own income ceiling, all because we are scared of maybe being rejected, of maybe just being uncomfortable. If you want to scale, we need to flip this and we need to really truly see sales as a service. You need to be willing to sit in that uncomfortable space and do the hard thing, even when you just want to run away. The silence is okay. You can take a deep breath and send the email. And I want you to allow space for the decision cycles that happen, right? Remember, we're business to business. They might not be quite ready to make a decision, and that's okay. A no isn't always a no forever. Remember that too. You can always come back to people in your next cycle. But I really want you to frame this as service, customer service. I want you to frame this as leading, and I want you to frame this as guiding other leaders to make the best decision for themselves, whether that's working with you or not. That is your role. That is your role. If you are leading sales, that's what you're leading. You are leading and guiding and serving. And hopefully it ends in the win-win for everybody. But if it doesn't, remember, follow up again the next time. All right, that is it from me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on the next one.